tonight's the practice session for focus and practice and sharing. We talked last week about keeping our eye on the ball. And so as you see, there's not really that much for you to look at in your book, but there's some space for you to write. But the intended questions I had for us to discuss and share were, how is your focus? And how has praise helped you to refocus, if it has it, how? And how has praying in the Spirit helped you to refocus, if it has? And I had no intentions of filming tonight because we were just going to do this sharing and practicing. And then I felt like, God reminded me of some things that I needed to share that have been going on over the past few weeks because of what we're doing, because I'm practicing what we're doing. And since I'm not going to be here on Sunday, I felt like it's kind of important that they get to see it too. So I ended up filming and doing a very thrown together part of this. But it's specifically about praying in the Spirit. I'm sure it's no surprise that I believe what I teach. But I really do believe what I teach. And one of the primary things that's a basis for all of this is about growth. And not only is growth the evidence of life, I'm absolutely convinced from the Scripture that growth is the guarantee of effectiveness. If I'm growing, I'm effective for Christ. If I'm not growing, I'm not effective. And I've been feeling kind of stalled. Kind of like, trying this, trying that, doing this, doing that, but not really feeling like I'm growing. And so we're doing this power training camp again, and one of the things that always is a part of it is to grow in, focus on praying in the Spirit. And time and time again in the past few years when I've done this training camp, I've wanted to do it, and while I'm doing the training camp, maybe I do it more, and then after the training camp's over, I kind of let it fade. But it's like, I've got to do this. It's just got to do this. So I've been really working on praying in the Spirit more and more and more, and that's the point, growing. Not, my ultimate goal is to be praying in the Spirit all the time, but at least to be growing in it. Well, something else that I had been doing, which Jane knows about, but you may not, probably don't, is that I felt like God's been has been moving me into places to try to get to know people, to build relationships, to share the Lord with, or to help disciple them or whatever. And I've tried this in different places, felt like God said, do it here, and did it for a while, and then nothing really seemed to come of it, then felt like it was here. And then for the past year, maybe, I've been going to the Galleria Mall. And I go specifically with the intention of talking to people, which for me is a big deal. Talking to strangers is not something I like to do or that I'm comfortable with. But I've seen little things here and there that I felt like God was, maybe opening some doors, starting some things. But in the past couple of weeks especially, I've been really trying to focus on praying in the Spirit. As I'm on my way to the mall, as I'm walking around the mall, or just whatever I'm doing. And so this one time, about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, as I was on my way there and I was praying in the Spirit, I felt like God prompted me to go to the mall office and say thank you for a nice mall. I know there's lots of people like me who walk in the mall and enjoy the comforts of it, but you probably never hear from the, and I said, thank you for keeping it clean. Thank you for such a nice place. And then, I'm not sure if I have all these pieces in the right order, but somewhere in there also I felt like God kind of hit me with this thought that it's to say I'm praying for you. So I went, and I'm walking around, and I'm passing the mall office, and I'm like, but no, I got to do this. Got to do this, to hear and do. And so I finally did. I walked in, and it was just a person sitting at the desk. I'm thinking she's probably a secretary. I don't know. There were some doors, so there were probably other people back there. But I just said basically what I just said to you. And also, the thought came to me that it's got to be really hard with everybody going to the Amazon and that sort of thing. And these days, and when I said that, you could just see, it's like, oh yeah, like she was worried about what was going to become of the mall, of her job, probably, or whatever. And so I said, you know, I'm praying for you. And she was very pleased with that. She, oh, thank you so much. That's just so nice to know. And then over the course of the next few weeks, this kind of thought continued, and partially, I believe, prompted by God speaking to me, and partially just by what I see. And another time, not too long ago, that I went, one of the fairly big stores was gone. It was just an empty place. And I thought, I've been coming here praying that God would enable me to build relationships so I could share the gospel with people, with the idea that that would benefit them. Obviously it will, but not really thinking about just praying for the mall. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'm praying for this place to prosper. I'm praying for these stores to have lots of customers and lots of sales. And so then, you know, time's going on, I come back again, whatever. I feel like one time I went back and God said to me, buy something. I'm like, oh. I mean, so, and for so many women especially, that would be like, well, of course, you go to the mall to buy something. I hate shopping. I hate to buy. If I buy something, I buy it on Amazon. Because I can sit there, I can click the buttons, I can compare, and it comes to my door, and I don't have to go shopping. But God said, buy something. I'm like, oh, okay. What do I buy? You know? And I'm looking, you know, I'm not interested in anything in that store. And I thought, oh, you know what? I need new shoes. And this mall has a Walmart. I had actually been looking for these new shoes that I needed because the ones I had were really good for my feet. You know, I have a tendency towards plantar fasciitis, so I need good support. But they were wearing out, and I thought, I know I need to get new ones. And the brand was one I had looked online for, Amazon, etc., and actually found that Walmart carries them. So, Walmart. There's a Walmart at this mall. So I went to Walmart and was thrilled to find out that not only did they have the brand, they were way cheaper than I ever thought they would be. So I ended up buying 2 pairs of shoes. And okay, you know, then I go back again and I'm just praying for, I noticed that some of the people that I saw before weren't there, and that kind of reinforced this. There was one janitor that I always seem to see, and I'd always say hi to her and say thanks for keeping things so nice and clean. I thought, I haven't seen her in a while, and instead I was seeing people with these different kind of logos, and I thought, I bet they've outsourced. And that just reinforced that, you know, to be praying for people's jobs, for the stores to be blessed and to prosper. And then yesterday, I was there, I was walking, I was praying in the Spirit, and again felt like God was saying, buy. I'm like, okay, what do I buy now? What do I need? What do I? And there was something I had needed for a while. Was I had a broken phone cover. I drop my phone fairly often. So I need a good cover, and the one I had was broken. It was hanging on by a thread, so I had been looking on Amazon. But you know, all these times I've walked back and forth, and I've never really noticed there's a kiosk right there that they sell phone cases. So I stood up there and looked around a little bit. The lady was helping somebody else, so I waited, and she came around to me, and she was showing me what they had, and I was like, I don't know, 20 bucks, and I really could buy something. God's saying, buy something. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll take it. And while she was wrapping it up, and I said, so how's business? And, you know, I can't say that I feel like that was a prompt of the Holy Spirit, and yet that's the only thought that came to my mind. And what God had been saying to me about the fact of caring about the people. I said, how long you been here? How's business? And she said, you know, she'd been there for a good while, and it was doing pretty good. I'm like, oh, that's great, you know. And she looked Indian, and she had the jewel in the nose, and I thought, she may very well be Hindu, and maybe I should have said, I'm praying for you. I didn't. But I said something. And after all of this, I thought how Pastor Brian says so many times, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so I was looking, in a sense, to practice drive-by evangelism. Just here, here's the gospel, and hope they get saved, and, maybe pray with them. But this is building a relationship, caring about people. And so I feel like I know that I'm growing. These things that I'm saying to you that I did, for most people, maybe a lot of people, especially people who are in the ministry, would probably be no big deal. For me, it's a huge deal. To talk to a stranger, to say anything other than, thanks for my receipt or whatever. But I'm doing this, and I'm seeing the beginnings of things that God is showing me and how He's expanding my obedience in the Spirit. And He's expanding my hearing and then my obedience. And as I do that, I am stretching my boldness. See, it's very little, but it's stretching. And so I absolutely believe, like I said, that growth is the guarantee of being an effective Christian. It's not achievement, it's not success. And so even though I can't point to anything like, oh yeah, this person got saved, or this person I prayed for them, they got healed, or whatever, I know that I'm being effective. And I know that God is moving me in those directions, and I'm going to keep doing it. So how about you all? Sometimes as I talk about these things, I know it's not like people look at them or think about them and say, well, that's stupid, I'm not going to do that. Most people, I think, actually believe it and intend to, but like me, they sometimes are challenged with growing or maybe don't quite understand it. So how is your focus? Has praise in any way helped you to refocus? Has praying in the Spirit helped you in any way? Or are you struggling with this, or just anything? Jump right in anytime.